Hey everyone, the name is Erik and so today we hit 2000 subscribers and that's a milestone if I ever saw one. I'm really happy, I'm really glad to have all that support. It means a lot to me. So today I'm gonna give you all something back. I'm gonna give you hopefully the best video ever made so far. A video on the connections between your facial expressions and your personality type. So using this video, you will be able to learn to tell what a personality type another person has based on how they smile, based on how they look, based on how they express themselves through their facial expressions. We are taking a deep dive into the person's hidden expressions, hidden micro-expressions. We're looking at their cheeks, their face, their jaws, their chin, their eyes, and how they look. We've talked about this so many times. We've talked about eye gazes, drifts, we've talked about skulls, we've talked about brow movements, we talked about how people move their body. We've all seen the connections, we've all seen similarities and patterns. So now what are the patterns? Let me address these patterns together with all of you. And through this, in this video, I'm actually going to challenge you a little. I'm going to challenge you to look beyond the stereotypes, look beyond what you think about the different personality traits. See that things are a little more complex than we originally thought. So I have a question for you, all of you. Which personality type does Barack Obama have? The answer will surprise you. Barack Obama is a fascinating politician. He has managed to gather more support than most presidents in the past. He has become a widely popular figure, regardless if you agree with his policies or not. And when you look at him, you will be surprised because he is, in so many ways, an introvert, not an extrovert. Looking at his outward persona, how he has developed himself, you imagine an extrovert as a person standing in front of the masses, holding fiery speeches, getting people together, building hype. But then you realize when looking at Obama that he has this calm, steady, philosophical demeanor, not the demeanor of a vocal enthusiast or a fiery speaker, not the energy of an enthusiast building support for new ideas or possibilities, but the calm and careful deliberation of a leader personality type. Looking at Barack Obama, you'll find that he shows the characteristics of a person that scowls, squints, and looks not with his eyes, not in an active and present way, but in many ways calm, steady, and thoughtful manner. He looks at you with a musing look, a musing, careful thinking gaze. You notice how he focuses his eyes like a judging type. You notice how he holds and activates the muscles around the eyes, tensing his look, focusing his look, making him look more determined than the perceiving type. You notice how he uses mainly his upper lips, but not his cheeks so much when he speaks. He doesn't have that breathy way of talking that extroverts tend to have, but he speaks more with his upper lips and his chin. He speaks in a way that is composed, carefully composing his words, carefully choosing his words and how he will say things and how he will deliver what he says. He shows the gesturing style of someone who is trying to sway and move and impact the group around him, a listener, the person watching, you and I. So now, while all of this is happening, you might be wondering, what does an extrovert then look like? Looking here at Ryan Reynolds, I think we get a good idea. You see in Ryan Reynolds that he does have the sensitive eyes that intuitives have. He has the look that shows that he is caught up and a little sensitive and a little overwhelmed by his environment. You see this need to tune out and to look away and to deflect as intuitives tend to. But at the same time, he maintains active eyes, he maintains mobile eyes, eyes that are scanning his environment, scanning the people around him, reading the person he's talking to. He seems to be actively a part of his environment, while sometimes deflecting to process what he sees and imagine. You see a person that has the focus of a judging type here, though. You see that he doesn't easily get distracted by his environment. You see that he looks like he has a target. He looks like he's actively interested in something in particular. He focuses his eyes, he focuses his gaze. He looks determined, he looks composed. But he also looks mobile, active, quick-flowing, free-flowing, like the extrovert. The extrovert always seems like they could start moving around or going in a new direction at any time. The extrovert shows that their eyes are reading patterns around them. They're reading the room, reading the group, reading the people. You see in the extrovert as well something very important that Obama didn't have. And that is the ability to show active empathy and affection towards other people. Like the ENFJ has here, the extroverted and feeling type, he looks like he's reading her emotions and mirroring her expressions. He empathizes with her while she speaks. And his smile leaks all the way from the upper lips to the cheeks. His eyes go deeper, as you see here. You see him actively seeing, like he cares about what she has to say. He seems to actively care about who she is and what her story is, in a way that the introvert might not. And that is, I think, the key separator of an extrovert and an introvert. So here you have it, Ryan Reynolds, ENFJ, and the difference between an extroverted and an introverted NFJ type. Something ever so interesting to see in the extrovert and intuitive type is this look of the investigator, of the journalist, the person who is reading patterns in their environment. What is happening over there? What's happening over there? They can have this look of something is amiss, something is wrong here, something here is hidden, there is something behind this, hidden behind that. What was behind that word the other person said? Their look is that of a person who is actively imagining and theorizing on what they are seeing as it happens. And so why did I pick Ryan Reynolds as an ENFJ? Well, because I don't see ENFJs necessarily as those that always abide by social norms. I don't see Ryan Reynolds as the person that always does what the crowd wants. I see Ryan Reynolds as the person that can read the room, can see what people are feeling, can pay attention to others, but also as an NF, as an intuitive, know when to step out of what is appropriate, know how to step out of the norms of what people expect, to surprise people, to bring something new to the table, to invent new social norms, new social rituals, and new ways to entertain people. So I'm here to talk about Douglas Adams, and I'm here to talk about the extroverted writer, because I'm here to blow stereotypes. I don't believe that politicians are necessarily extroverts. I don't believe that writers are necessarily introverts. Here we have Douglas Adams, science fiction writer, amazing writer, and the ENFP. Douglas Adams has the characteristics of a person that is an extrovert. He looks with his brows and with his eyes active. He has mobile, dancing eyes. He has eyes that look around him with curiosity. With Douglas Adams, you see a person whose emotions stretch towards the cheeks. When he smiles, when he laughs, his cheeks are a part of it. He shows that he cares and reads his room. He reads the person he's talking to. He shows an interest in how other people are feeling. He's constantly scanning the room, scanning his environment for patterns, for connections. He has the eyes of an investigator, sensitive eyes as the intuitives tend to, eyes that show interest and curiosity in not the real world, not the raw reality, but in what's hidden behind it. The extroverted and intuitive type has the eye of someone that feels like something is amiss, something is hidden in the world. And they have more dark eyes than the sensing types, eyes that show a more of a narrow look, a more deflected look, but still an active and immobile and engaging look. This is a person who looks at you like you are hiding something, or like there is something hidden or something amiss in this room, and they are trying to bring it out and show everyone what it is. The extrovert has that digging gesture style, where they perceive information as something that is always emerging around them, that you only have to grab for. Information that you can then weigh and balance as perceivers tend to do. The extroverted and perceiving types have body language that is mostly seen in their reaction. Their emotions are mostly seen, and look here carefully when this person stops talking. The extroverted and perceiving type shows more emotions when approached by other people, when targeted by something, when something happens. They show emotions in their reactions, in their outer yaws, in how they smile and how they go like, oh. They have that surprise to them, and that's where you see the ENFP's emotions, in that surprise, in that processing style of thinking. The extroverted perceiving type does not show charisma in the way that Ryan Reynolds or Obama does. He doesn't speak with that conviction where he's actively trying to persuade or sell something to you. But he speaks with this kind of concern, with this kind of, how do I feel about that? What do you feel about that? What do you think about that? What do I think about that? They are always bringing up discernment and process of deciding. They are showing us different options, and they're asking us how we feel about different topics and issues. And now it's time to discuss one last stereotype, the question of if an INFP can be a talk show host. I'm talking about Ellen DeGeneres. And what I think everyone is so surprised by when it comes to her is that she can be very outgoing, she can be very expressive and accommodating of the people around her, unlike what you'd think an INFP would. You don't see an INFP going out of their shell and out of their comfort zone as much as Ellen DeGeneres does, and so you're led to think ENFP. But Ellen herself thinks she's an INFP. So who's right, her or us? Now, look at Ellen DeGeneres carefully here. Look at how she smiles, look at how she talks, look at how she conveys herself. You'll notice something interesting, something very interesting, and that is that her emotions never go to the upper part of her face. Her upper part of the face is always so serious, rational, pragmatic, condensed, serious. She doesn't show emotions in her outer part of the face, but in her lower part of the face. Like a perceiver, she smiles with the lower jaws. She shows her reactions and her emotional expressions in her outer and inner jaw, in her chin and jaw region. She shows that she cares by pulling her jaws back somewhat. And in that important gesture, what you see is feeling, perceiving, and introverted feeling. INFP's emotions are mostly on the inside. They are not shown outwards. Her outward persona is actually far more analytical and rational. Looking at Ellen DeGeneres' eyes, what you will notice is that her eyes, she has that sensitive, intuitive eyes, just like the ENFP, but she doesn't have that mobile look. Her eyes are not active, her eyes are not moving around in that sense. Her eyes are steady, her look is careful, cautious even. Her look is, in so many ways, brighter than the ENFPs, and this is interesting because the IN types, the philosophical types like Ellen DeGeneres and Barack Obama for that matter, are types that show to be more philosophical and theoretical. They seem to be musing about something, thinking about something, trying to figure something out. They're actively in a state of introspection and reflection. INFJs and INFPs share both that sensitive streak and both that musing streak of how they look and how they use their jaws and chin region in particular. The differences stop there, however, because INFJs have a lot more charisma and overall more composure and cunning and scheming towards them. They're more planned, where Ellen DeGeneres seems more like a listener. As an advisor, as an introverted perceiving type, what you tend to do is you're bringing information on the inside, you're bringing it to the table, you're shaping and forming it to present something good to other people. You can take the role of someone who is like a mountain explorer, showing people different areas, telling people about a new possibility or a new area, and showing with them what different roads they could take, the easy road, the difficult road, the scenic road. Showing people the best things in life, showing people their memories, reminiscing, showing people good experiences, discussing philosophical issues and who we are and our identity and our deeper layers of ourselves. You'd think a talk show host must be an extrovert. You'd think a politician must be an extrovert. You'd think a writer must be an introvert. You think that we have these limitations. But these limitations are harmful. They are putting us in this restricted area where we think this is only me, this is the only thing I can do, when that's not true. We can go so much beyond what people think about us, and when the MBTI becomes a limitation, that's when it becomes harmful and dangerous. When the MBTI becomes a stepway to something, a guide to how you can become more outgoing, more proactive, how you can achieve more, how you can be more happy, how you can be more successful, more healthy. That's when it becomes a positive tool to be used for growth. So with all of these videos, the one thing I want to show you is don't limit yourself. And why I'm saying this is because I come from this perspective. I've been both the writer, isolated, only playing World of Warcraft, only reading, and I've been a politician. I've been in that world where you have to constantly be outgoing and asserting yourself. I've been a leader. I've been managing huge groups of people. I've been throwing big conferences. I've written hundreds of political articles. I've held debates. I've held speeches. I've been both on the extreme end of introversion and the extreme end of extroversion. I've explored and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And the surprising thing I realized was that I was never an extroverted politician. I never micromanaged people. I never put people together. I never pushed people. I never set up groups. I never set up projects for people. I never pushed my own ideas over others' heads. I was always the big picture person. I was always the independent figure. I walked my own way, and then somehow, for some reason, people followed me and thought that was an interesting path. I started up my own projects and people came towards it. I shared my own truth and my own perspectives, and eventually people started voting for it. And that's how I advanced my own story and my own life. Not by actively trying to incorporate or work together with others, but because other people enjoyed that style too and wanted to be a part of it, and then enjoyed the stability in the ways that I could give them in that role. And I'm not saying I was perfect, and I'm not saying that executives can't do that well too. They can, they really can. But they do it differently, and I did it differently. I did it my own way. I did it as an introvert would. Just as an extrovert can write like an extrovert would. Just like an introvert can be a talk show host, just like an introvert would. It's not about what you do, but it's about how you do it, and it's about finding a way to do things that fits with your personal style. So my question for you is, do you think the stereotypes are true? Do you think that politicians are always extroverts? Do you think that introverts are always going to be hiding behind books and never going to parties? Do you think that extroverts are never going to be able to find that concentration to write the book they've always dreamed of? Do you think that ENFJs will always hide behind what the crowd thinks and what is socially appropriate? Or do you think that we all have wills of our own? We all have possibilities much deeper than our personality type, and possibilities that stretch much further than the stereotypes so far have claimed?